Good morning, friends. Thanks for coming out to see us here on the homestead. I've got a coil that went out on my truck again. Same one as last time. I'm not understanding why. I do know that that particular cylinder, for whatever reason, gets water, rainwater, down inside on top of the motor, down in that plug hole. I don't know if it's water or condensation from the air conditioning heater, because when the heater runs in these later model vehicles, the air conditioning compressor runs too to help dry the air out. So I'm not sure what it is causing it, but that particular coil has gone out 3 times in this last year, so I don't know. It's got me scratching my head, but I do have new coils that I carry them with me just in case. These coils only last about 100,000 miles or 90,000 miles or so, and this truck's got 260,000 miles on it. So the fact that I seemingly keep changing coils doesn't bother me. The truck is a great truck, and that's a great motor that's in there, so I'll just keep replacing the coils. I'm going to drive this thing until the engine falls out of it, and then I'll put another engine in it, because I'd much rather spend, I don't know, $6,000 to $7,000 putting new engine, transmission, and rear end in this truck than spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on a new truck. That's a lot of money. And I like my old truck, so I'm just going to keep it going. Besides that, if I do replace it with something better for a daily driver, it'll make a good farm truck. So we have that too. Anyway, I got to get in the back of my truck. Pardon me. I've got to get in the back of my truck, get the coils and the tools to do that job, and then we'll go around front and get on that job. First thing we have to do is take this cover off, get it out of our way. Then there's 2 hoses down here we need to take off, get those out of our way to see if we can get to the bolt, the 7mm bolt that holds this coil in. Out of all the coils on this motor, number 7 cylinder is one of the most difficult to get off. The fuel lines, the hard steel fuel lines for the fuel injection run right over the top of it. There's also an EGR line, which is a steel line, right here, that runs over the top of it. And I actually need something that's smaller than this, but this is all I've got. Go. Uh-oh. I'm missing something. I need some bigger needle nose or pliers. Yes! Okay, got it out. I'm going to blow some air in that plug socket down there and just make sure there's nothing in there causing problems. I don't know why this particular coil fails on this motor. I don't know if it's a bad batch from the manufacturer I'm buying them from, or if there's an electrical issue with this truck. I don't know. So I'm going to put another new one in it and hope that solves the problem. This is contact grease for electrical connections to make sure that they don't get water in them. So I just put some inside the plug loop. So when I put it on, it'll slide off the plug better, plus it'll help seal it. You can also put this on the contacts on the where the wires plug in as well. It also doesn't hurt to put some on the threads of the bolt. Keep it from seizing up. Steel bolts and aluminum engine parts with heat and everything can pretty much weld themselves to each other. They build up a corrosion between the two of them. There's an electrochemical issue between steel and aluminum, yet they keep making everything out of steel and aluminum. You know, it's cheaper, I guess. Now, because this one particular coil and wire has been plugged and unplugged so many times, the little catch on the plastic socket has broken off. It's not unusual. What I've done in the past, and I will probably continue to do, rather than change that socket out, is to just put a little black RTV on the inside of the plug and push it on there. And once it's on there and it dries up, it'll help keep it on there. It won't come sliding off. So that's what I'm doing with the black RTV sealant. Now, if you do this with this sealant, you want to make sure that you don't get it on the electrical connections itself. That's a bad thing. I'm going to start this up real quick, make sure my mist is gone. Okay, the mist is gone. Good news. Okay, that should do that part of it. Now I just need to button the motor back up. I'm putting a little grease on the threads. You know, it rains a lot here and things get rusty, so it'll just make it easier to take apart next time. Okay, let's start her back up, make sure she's okay. Why are you setting the alarm off?
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm over here trying to find my key in the pocket.
Okay, that wraps it up for the mechanical portion of it. But it did set a code on the dash in the computer, you know, check engine light. So we need to clear that code. Let me walk you through that. It's not hard if you have an OBD2 reader. It's real simple. The thing is, when you clear the codes on one of these engines, it clears all of the sensors as well. So all of the emission sensors, smog sensors, that kind of stuff get cleared. And so you don't really want to do that unless you have to, especially if you're going to go get your vehicle inspected and they're going to run a smog check on it. All of the sensors have to clear. In other words, they have to go through a duty cycle to make sure that everything's operating as it should. And one of those duty cycles is quite extensive. I mean, it's 50 miles or so of stop and go driving, that kind of thing. So you can't just jump on the freeway and just drive 50 miles. So I don't have to get this inspected until July, so I'm good with that. It's not a problem, and I drive enough every day that it wouldn't take me long to clear those codes anyway. So let's get to the OBD2 reader and see about getting those codes cleared.
All right, this is the OBD2 reader I have. It's made by Creedy, or C-Reader, I guess. It is not an expensive one. It's the cheapest one I could find. It not only views codes, but you can clear your codes. Now, it doesn't get into a lot of the specifics with tests, emissions tests, and that kind of stuff. I didn't care for that. Didn't care about that. I lose enough coils over the 20 years or so I've owned this truck that I need to know when it starts missing and one cylinder drops out completely, I need to know which cylinder that is. And the only way to do that is with the code reader. It'll drop a code and you'll get a check engine light after a while. Sometimes it's a soft code, not a hard code. So you do have to know the difference, and it will tell you when you pull up the codes. A hard code means that the check engine light came on and stays on. If it won't drop a code, you have to drive it until it finally does turn on that check engine light for you to be able to find out which cylinder is the one that's missing. I had an intermittent problem. Boy, it went on for about a month. Every once in a while, one cylinder would just drop out and stop firing. It made it very difficult to find because it wouldn't even set a soft code for me to see on the card reader, the code reader. Now, if I had a better one, maybe it would, I don't know. But it eventually started missing enough that it set a code, and I was able to figure out which cylinder it was and replace that particular coil and plug. So my recommendation when you change a coil, if you haven't changed your plugs in a long time, change them at the same time. Now, if you want to avoid all the hassles of occasionally having to change a coil, then when one fails, you should go ahead and replace. I mean, if it's got 80, 90,000 miles on it or so, you should just replace them all. My recommendation with plugs, spark plugs and coils, is to go with OEM, so original equipment manufacturer stuff. I used to be one of those people that would buy hot rod parts on basically a stock engine. It doesn't do you any good. Don't buy Excel or MSD or any of those coils or plugs. This engine and vehicle was specifically engineered to operate with motorcraft parts. It's a Ford. I have found the best possible luck just replacing with motorcraft parts. The coils I don't replace with motorcraft parts, and maybe that's part of me having to change them as much as I do. The reason I don't is I get these coils from Amazon for, gosh, they're like $16 or $20. They're pretty cheap. They may be less than that, I don't remember. They kind of go up and down. But in the motorcraft coils are I've seen them from $99 to $130 a piece. That's a lot. So you can buy the cheaper ones, and I've only had a couple that didn't cut the mustard. And that's only been recently. Now, I don't know if the manufacturing process has gotten worse, if quality control's gotten worse, if they're just slapping them together somewhere in some third world country and they don't care. It's possible. If you don't mind having to replace them now and again, you just return it to the manufacturer. You send it, you shoot them an email, and you can do all that through Amazon. Shoot them an email, tell them the coil failed. It's only a year old or 2 years old or whatever, or 6 months old or whatever it is, and they'll send you a new one. You don't even have to send the old one back. They don't care. So I think they sell enough of them in bulk that, or they have so few failures that that's the case. So anyway, let's get on with plugging in the OBD2 reader. There's a plug usually under your dash in some specific area. You can see how it's shaped. It only goes on one way. I've done this enough, I know where mine is. When you plug it in, even with the key off, it will launch the controller. The options are diagnose, DTC lookup, tool setup, or help. Diagnose is what I always do. You just hit OK. It says processing. It's going to tell you to turn the key on. So you just turn the key on. Okay. Now it gives you lots of options, but right at the very top it says DTCs in this ECU. So I don't remember what DTC stands for, but ECU is engine control unit, so the computer, and it says 1. So that means there's a code there. So I'm on it. It's selected. Just hit OK. And then you come up to another screen that says read codes, erase codes, IM readiness. That's emissions readiness, data stream, freeze frame, O2 sensor test. I'm just going to hit read codes. Hit OK. It's a generic code, cylinder 7 misfire detected. Hit OK. Or hit back rather. And then I'm going to scroll down. The one right under read codes is erase codes. Hit OK. It's going to ask you, are you sure that's what you want to do? Hit OK. Please turn ignition on. Mine's on. Press enter, which is OK. Emission-related diagnostic information has been cleared. OK. exit. Unplug your reader. Start the engine. Check engine light went off immediately. And the radio came on. Okay, I think we're good. There's no miss. There's no other lights on. We should be good to go. Thanks for watching.